Hello, everybody. My name's Jim, and I don't know what this is. I want to kind of call it a TBR, but it's not really. I mean, it is, but it's not. I don't know. I don't want to call it a TBR, but it is. Anyway, I did the music tag not too long ago, and I got to thinking today. I wonder if there are any good books out there that share a title of a song that I really like. And because I am a discovery reader right now, I'm getting back into the swing of things, and I have found enough books to where I think I have a rhythm. I think I'm good with, following through. I think I'm there now. I think I can experiment. I think I can branch out and look for things that maybe are a little out of my comfort zone or a little random. So I looked up 5 books, and I might do this again in the future with more song titles. And if you want to do it too, it just sounds like a fun idea. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm not going to read these books in 1 month. I'm going to stretch them out and hopefully at least read all 5 of them by the end of this year. It's not going to be, any sort of like readathon or anything like that, because I do kind of want to make sure that I'm not reading too many random things in a row or fall into reading too many similar things in a row. I have 2 mysteries on this list, mystery thrillers, and yeah, I don't want to burn myself out on the same things. But the book song combos that I have right now are Her Eyes by Pat Monahan. It's a song that I sing every day in the kitchen. It always pops into my head, so it has to be the first one that I find a book for. And the book that I found that includes Her Eyes, it's not exact because I couldn't find a book that was exact, is Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. So I'm going to read the blurbs for these just so you guys can get an idea of what these stories are about, because I don't know anything about them. I haven't cracked them open. I just discovered them today, so I haven't really done much research. But yeah, so the blurb is, why is everyone talking about the ending of Sarah Pinborough's Behind Her Eyes? I don't know. Let's find out. Louise is a single mom, a secretary, stuck in a modern-day rut. On a rare night out, she meets a man in a bar and sparks fly. Though he leaves after they kiss, she's thrilled she finally connected with someone. When Louise arrives at work on Monday, she meets her new boss, David, the man from the bar, the very married man from the bar, who says the kiss was a terrible mistake, but who still can't keep his eyes off Louise. And then Louise bumps into Adele, who's new to town and in need of a friend, but she also just happens to be married to David. David and Adele look like the picture-perfect husband and wife. But then why is David so controlling, and why is Adele so scared of him? As Louise is drawn into David and Adele's orbit, she uncovers more puzzling questions than answers. The only thing that is crystal clear is that something in this marriage is very, very wrong. But Louise can't guess how wrong, and how far a person might go to protect their marriage's secrets. So this does have a little bit of a romance scandal, and I don't like romances, but this doesn't seem like a romance. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to this one. I think the last mystery slash thriller that I read flopped, so I'm gonna kind of use this as an excuse to get into it again. I have 2 just in case another one doesn't work out. I really want to try because I do like the drama. So based on the blurb alone, there does seem to be a little bit of a convenience, specifically with David just happening to be at the bar and kissing her, and then showing up as her boss the next day, and then happening to run into Adele, who ends up being her bestie, and Adele and David are married. I'm kind of wondering, though, if it's kind of like a destiny thing that may or may not be a good thing. Sometimes people can write it really well, sometimes people can't. And also, it turns out that this is a Netflix series, which I'm not sure of. I might just get the Kindle version of these books because it's cheaper and I don't want to spend a lot of money on books that maybe I'm not going to like. But if I do end up getting the book, I really hope that I don't get one with a sticker. I only care about the book. It's what I got. It's what I want. I don't need Netflix in this case in my face. So yeah. If I get the book, I'm going to specifically look for one without the sticker, but I think I'm just going to go with a Kindle version for all of these anyway, so it's not even going to matter. So the next song on the list is Let Go by Frou Frou. It is, I'm a huge fan of Imogen Heap, who sings this. She eventually went off and is now singing just under her name, but back then she was part of a band called Frou Frou, and Let Go was, I can't remember where I heard Let Go from. Was it Scrubs or was it a movie that the Scrubs guy was in? I can't remember his name. It's on the tip of my brain, but I'm not going to remember it for this video. I'm sorry. But that's where I heard it from, and I fell in love with the song. It's one of my favorites now. It's very calm, very deep. It hits you in your soul. But the book that I selected to go with this is called Don't Let Go by Harlan Coben. This is the other mystery thriller. With unmatched suspense and emotional insight, Harlan Coben explores the big secrets and little lies that can destroy a relationship, a family, and even a town in this powerful new thriller. That kind of bugs me too. It's like a movie trailer. Anyway, suburban New Jersey detective Napoleon, quote, Nap Dumas, hasn't been the same since senior year of high school when his twin brother Leo and Leo's girlfriend Diana were found dead on the railroad tracks, and Mara, the girl Nap considered the love of his life, broke up with him and disappeared without explanation. For 15 years, Nap has been searching, both for Mara and for the real reason behind his brother's death. And now it looks as though he may finally find what he's been looking for. When Mara's fingerprints turn up in the rental car of a suspected murderer, Nap embarks on a quest for answers that only leads to more questions about the woman he loved, about the childhood friends he thought he knew, about the abandoned military base near where he grew up, and mostly about Leo and Diana, whose deaths are darker and far more sinister than Nap ever dared imagine. So this sounds pretty good. Not gonna lie, I hope this book doesn't disappoint me. I like the whole thing with Mara. I hope she doesn't turn out to be, some serial killer, whatever, because then the whole blurb gave it away. This is pretty intriguing for me. It's kind of like a cold case situation, and I do like cold cases. I like things being brought back into light. A lot has happened in 15 years to where, things that were unsolved before maybe could be solved now with more evidence. So I would like to see how Harlan Coben handles this. I think that he is a mystery thriller writer anyway, so he has experience behind him. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. The next song on the list is Lift by Poets of the Fall. I was going to go with Carnival of Rust. There are actually books with the title Carnival of Rust. One is a series of poems. I almost went with that, but I kind of changed my mind at the end of it. And went with Lift, which is a song that I played on repeat when I first started getting into Poets of the Fall. And I happened to find a book titled Lift by Carrie Corrigan. The blurb says, "No matter when and why this comes to your hands, I want to put down on paper how things started with us." Written as a letter to her children, Kelly Corrigan's Lift is a tender, intimate, and robust portrait of risk and love, a touchstone for anyone who wants to live more fully. In Lift, Corrigan weaves together 3 true and unforgettable stories of adults willing to experience emotional hazards in exchange for the gratifications of raising children. Lift takes its name from hang gliding, a pursuit that requires flying directly into rough air, because turbulence saves a glider from sinking out. For Corrigan, this wisdom that to fly requires chaotic, sometimes even violent passages, becomes a metaphor for all of life's most meaningful endeavors, particularly the great flight that is parenting. Corrigan serves it up straight. How mundanely and fiercely her children have been loved, how close most lives occasionally come to disaster, and how often we fall short as mothers and fathers. Lift is for everyone who has been caught off guard by the pace of vulnerability of raising children, to remind us that our work is important and our time limited. Like Anne Morrow Lindbergh's Gift from the Sea, Lift is a meditation on the complexities of a woman's life. And like Corrigan's memoir, The Middle Place, Lift is boisterous and generous, a book readers can't wait to share. So this one's a short one. I think it says 89 pages on Goodreads, but a lot of times I don't trust that. Everybody knows, like, if you're familiar with my channel, I love a good memoir. I love nonfiction. I don't have any children myself. I just have cats. But I do like the vulnerability that comes with motherhood, fatherhood, being a parent, and having a very close connection with a child, because I feel like I had that with my parents. So it really touches me to see that in novels and in memoirs, because I just feel so lucky to have the parents that I have. I feel very privileged to have parents who, despite the turbulence and the craziness that goes along with parenthood and having children who may or may not make the best decisions on a day-to-day basis, you know, that they're still there and they love you. And I am interested in reading this because it is directly from a mother about her own children, or about her relationship with her children, and I think that this will be very interesting. And two, if it's 89 pages, it's something that I can just get through in one or two sittings. So I can pretty much read this book anywhere at any time. And also the cover is very pretty. I love that green. I love the butterfly. The next song is The Red by Chevelle, and for this I picked The Red Tent. I've heard about this one. I know that this has a biblical theme. I think it pulls from a biblical story. This is by Anita Diamant. I already know that this is the one that I'm most anticipating, simply because I do like to read about biblical characters and stories from the Bible, because I do have a close tie with religion, and it's also a very tumultuous relationship, but I do like to read stories like that. So here's the blurb. Her name is Dinah. In the Bible, her life is only hinted at in a brief and violent detour within the more familiar chapters of the book of Genesis that are about her father, Jacob, and his dozen sons. Told in Dinah's voice, this novel reveals the traditions and turmoils of ancient womanhood, the world of the red tent. It begins with the story of her mothers, Leah, Rachel, Zilpah, and Bilhah, the four wives of Jacob. They love Dinah and give her gifts that sustain her through a hardworking youth, a calling to midwifery, and a new home in a foreign land. Dinah's story reaches out from a remarkable period of early history and creates an intimate connection with the past. Deeply affecting, The Red Tent combines rich storytelling with a valuable achievement in modern fiction, a new view of biblical women's society. I'm not sure how familiar everybody listening to this is with the Bible and how it's evolved over time, but there are so many stories and so many books that have been left out. I'm not sure if there was more actually written about Dinah in the original Bible and the original text, but this is something I'm very interested in. I love pulling out other characters that we might not know as much about, and you know, whether this is just Anita Diamant's spin on how she thought Dinah was treated, or if this is from the biblical text that didn't necessarily focus on her, then, I mean, either way, I'm interested. And the last song on the list is Going Under by Evanescence, and I ended up picking Going Under by Sonia Henry as the book. Certainly a different look than Evanescence's, just looking at the bright yellow and the bright blue. But you can probably tell what this is about, even without reading the little tagline at the top. A darkly funny and sexy novel that blows the lid off the medical profession and life inside a hospital by a young doctor whose anonymous article about the pressures of trainee doctors went viral around the world. Dr. Katerina Kitty Holiday thought that once she finished medical school and found gainful employment at one of Sydney's best teaching hospitals, that her dream was just beginning. The hard years, she thought, were finally over. But Kitty is in for a rude shock. Between trying to survive on the ward, in the operating theater, and in the emergency department without killing any of her patients or going under herself, Kitty finds herself facing situations that rock her very understanding of the vocation to which she intends to devote her life. Going Under is a rare insight into the world of a trainee female medic and takes an unflinching look at the reality of being a doctor. It explores the big themes life, death, power, and love through the eyes of Dr. Holliday as she loses her identity and nearly her mind in the pressure cooker world of the hospital. But it is also there that Kitty might find her own redemption and finally know herself for the first time. Darkly funny, sexy, moving, and shocking, Going Under will grip you from the opening page and never let you go. 416 pages. This is the longest book on the list, so we're going to get to that, and we're going to truck through it the best we can. Typically, I don't like books that go over 300, but I think that if Sonia Henry is able to keep the humor up, this is a very interesting book to read. The fact that this was first published at the end of 2019, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how she wrote about working at the hospital before the pandemic, because I imagine if she were to write this today, possibly it would be different. I don't know. I haven't read this book, but it is a very interesting thing now that doctors are so heavily in the spotlight. Even today, even after 3 years of the pandemic beginning, this is going to be some really interesting insight, because I believe the author is a doctor herself. So this is probably going to play into some experience as well. Those are my songs and the books that go along with them. If you want to do this, I think I'm going to put this in my tags folder. This isn't an actual tag because there aren't questions that go along with it, but I thought that it would be a cool idea. If you guys want to do it as well and maybe find some authors and some books that were not on your radar at all, feel free to give this a try and see if you can get through it. All of the books that I have selected are hovering around 4 stars, which I think is a very good thing. But of course, they vary in the amount of ratings that they have. I think that the Red Tent has the most with 578,000 roughly, and then Going Under has less than 2,000 ratings. So, there is a little bit of a discrepancy there in the amount of people who have consumed these books. But I'm all for discovering new writers and new books that otherwise wouldn't have been on my radar, and as a discovery reader. So I'm looking forward to this project. Again, I'm not going to read all 5 of these in 1 month. I'm going to spread them out throughout the year and hopefully read them all by December 31st. But yeah, if you want to join in, you have a list of 5 songs that you love and you want to find 5 books that match them, do it. This seems like one of those throw cares to the wind sort of ideas that I have sometimes. So yeah, just enjoy yourselves out there. Otherwise, I've been Jim. You've been great. Happy reading.